Buy them telescopes for Christmas. If you're going to buy them things for gifts, buy them telescopes, right? Buy them erector sets. Buy them model trains and things like that. If you're going to buy your daughter's dolls, buy them black dolls so they can learn to be mothers to them, and you can explain that to them. Buy them things to teach them things about the anatomy of the body. Expand and further their mind. Don't sit up here and allow them to be around a bunch of children at an early age. Encourage them to be by themselves if that's what it has to take. Encourage them to enjoy their own company. Children need correction. Children need correction. When they are young and impressionable like that, they want you to show them the lines, right? They want you to show them the law and the order. They want you to show them the boundaries. And it is up to you to show them the boundaries. However, our people have been conned into not showing them the boundaries. You've been conned into telling them, let them find themselves. That's the new message in this society today. Let them find themselves. Let them do what they want to do. Let them, find out how they are and this, that, and the third. Let them be encouraged to express themselves and whatnot with no boundaries. They push this message especially to our children. We are by nature law and orderly people, and we're being convinced not to be that way any longer when it comes to raising our children. We're being convinced not to be that way anymore. We're being convinced not to be disciplinarians. They learn unruly behavior because they're not being ruled properly. Children are to be ruled. They are to be reared. They are to be given their first set of law and orders and discipline on how to act and how to react in society. They're looking to you to do that. The white man, what he wants to do, he wants to be the one to put the law and the order on your children, and he's not going to do it nice. See, he wants to discipline your children. He wants to beat your children because he really has this mentality still in his head that your children belong to him. That's why he tells you can't discipline your children. You can't spank your children. You can't do this to your children. And they claim because you can possibly abuse them, and they use that term of abuse. They tell you the only thing you can do is to have a timeout and send your child in the corner instead of doing exactly what it is your children are looking for. Your children are looking to be disciplined by nature. Your children are looking to be punished by nature when they do the wrong thing. They're not looking for you to send them in the damn corner for a timeout. They looking for you to punish them. They want the boundaries set. They want the laws set. They look for that by nature. That's why they test you and see what they can get away with before you correct them. I'm just using this as an example. Sometimes you have to do certain things, take physical measures to get the attention of your children and to let them know that you are setting the boundary and setting the law and the order. And you're doing this to keep them safe so that they don't have to grow up and encounter the white man's law and order system, which will lock them up, which will kill them, which will choke them out, put them in the hospital. That's the order and law he wants to teach them. A lot of these young boys that's in jail now, a lot of these young guys, you go back to their homes and whatnot, and I bet you'll see where their parents didn't discipline them. They didn't have any father in the house. They didn't grow up with a strong male voice. They only had 9 times out of 10 they had their mother in the house, and she had men in and out of the damn house, or she wasn't strong enough. They didn't really listen to her, because after a while these kids grow up and they get taller than their mothers, taller than their fathers, so they didn't have that fear in them to respect the mothers and fathers. They didn't have it in them because it wasn't instilled in them at an early age. And see, the beast hopes that you don't instill that in your children so that they can do it. They have their own way of law and order and discipline teaching them. That's why, if you notice, when a lot of these kids get locked up, when they 18, 19 years old for doing something stupid, next thing you know, they turn around, they got 20 years. They sitting in jail for 20 years. They have this look on their face like what the you know what? Because they really didn't understand law and order. They really didn't understand discipline or right and wrong because they didn't have any boundaries set for them at home. There was no boundary set for them at home, so they didn't understand consequences for their actions. So when they sitting in jail, when they sitting in court, it's not real to them. They think it's a game until they get 20 years. When they hanging out with their friends and whatnot, because they push that peer group or that peer pressure upon them, and this is being heavily implemented on young black children. Children are always looking for a father. They're always, the father represents the law and the order, the discipline. The mother represents the nurturing. So they're looking for law and order to be set early on. They're looking for discipline early on. Now people will say, if you're too strict on them and whatnot, then they're going to just turn out to be loose and be this, that, and the third. I'm saying there's a balancement in everything. You don't keep them in some church type of strict upbringing, but you also don't let them run wild like a pack of dogs in the damn street either. You're supposed to keep a tight rein on them, but enough so that they can walk and see, and you can show them and guide them in what they're seeing and explain things to them. The biggest mistakes our people make with their children is you keep them as children too damn long. You baby them when you're supposed to be talking to them like little adults, young adults from an early age. You're supposed to be talking to them like young adults. I'm not talking about cursing them out or being vulgar. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about dealing with them and spelling out and explaining situations to them beforehand, situations they will encounter, people they will encounter. Now, a lot of you who haven't chose fathers for your children, a lot of you who are in a situation where there is no father figure, you have to do what you can do and do what you can do. But I always tell single sisters, find fathers for your children, find men for yourself, because it is not natural for a child to be reared without a father or a mother. Even if you brothers have no woman in the house and you raising daughters and sons, go find you a woman, find you a wife to help raise your children. Let her know she's signing on for this, and when you have more children, so you can set a standard family, a balanced family. They have to see the balancement of men and women in the household. Can't be just them seeing women, because that does two things to them. It effeminizes the boys a lot of times, or they grow up to resent women because you might be too strict on them, where they're looking for that strictness to come from a father. A lot of times they get women who make punks out of them because they used to being made punks out of by the women. They're looking for a strong father figure to be the disciplinarian, a man. So they can take that to their family when they go out and they're looking for women and whatnot, and they're going to start a family so they can be strong men and disciplinarian figures. This is why you see young black men the way they are now. They're weak. Your mother is not your father. I'm going to say it again. Your mother is not your father. Your father is supposed to be your father, even if it's a damn stepfather. Your uncle is not your father. Your grandfather is not your father. They need to see that connection between mother and father in that sort of relationship. They need to see that. You wonder why when they hit 17 and 18 years old and whatnot, they pants hanging off their ass and they sitting around here making babies they can't take care of. They don't have they don't have a grown man mentality. You gotta wait till they damn near hit 30 for them to grow up. You gotta wonder why they sitting in your damn house and whatnot, eating up your food, ain't got a job, ain't got no money coming in, nothing. You gotta wonder why that's going on. Because it's something you set in motion. You set no law and order in motion for them to become men and women. You gotta wonder why your daughter 12 years old, 13 years old in the damn abortion clinic, you gotta take her to the abortion clinic and she act like a damn bubblehead. She act like she don't know how babies is made or what the consequences are of laying up with young guys her age. Because you didn't establish law and order in the house. You didn't establish what it meant to be a woman, or growing into a young woman, or growing into a young man. You didn't establish that. You didn't think that was important. You're too lazy. You become too lazy to govern a law and order principle in your children. Raise them like soldiers. Raise them to be disciplined. You want them to be sluggish. You want them to be quote unquote kids. Oh, that's too. You say stupid stuff like, oh, they just kids. They don't understand, or they don't know, or you being too strict on them. No, it's never no such thing as that. As far as setting law and order early, certain things you will allow and you will not allow. Certain things that they grow up seeing, where it becomes set in their mind early, where they understand law and order, so that the damn white man ain't got to teach them law and order later. You know how he gonna teach them law and order? At the end of a nightstick or a damn gun. What you should have them, if you're gonna have them watching TV, is educational stuff. Forensic Files, History Channel, Science Channel, National Geographic. You're supposed to raise them to either be amongst their brothers and sisters, or just be by themselves. Let them know it's okay to be alone. Let them know it's all right to be by yourself. Don't want to be around stupid people. You're supposed to let them know that. You ain't tell them, it ain't natural that they don't have friends. They don't need no damn friends, especially with the mentality of these children today. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having friends. If their minds is not right, you don't know the mothers, you don't know the fathers, you don't know how the children are. You ain't got the children hanging around you, because those children that your children are hanging out with, they supposed to be up in your house as much as they in their own house, because this is how you get to watch who your children are around. You get to see certain things. They not supposed to have their friends come over the house and then they going out and you don't even know who the hell they going out with. They supposed to be sitting up in your house and you supposed to see who's around your children, who they playing with. So you can, the ones who's supposed to come and want to be their best friend, right? They supposed to be around your house so you can examine, do I want my son around him? Do I want my daughter around them? What's wrong with them? And so you can decide early, no, you're not hanging around them no more. They supposed to be in your house, so just for the examination period. You ain't got to say nothing. You could just see how these children are that are hanging around your children. See how their parents are. And that'll tell you whether you want them around your children or not. The children are the most precious commodity. They're carrying your bloodline. They're carrying your seed. They carry the future of your family. So why would you, if you took this time to carry them, if you took this time to work for them, to feed them, to clothe them, why would you send them out here and not do the very best up to your ability and beyond to make sure they turn out to be excellent people in life, productive people, preen people? I tell you personally, you should homeschool out of your children at an early age. But see, the black race, they don't see it that way, because they don't see themselves as supreme people. So of course they don't think much of their children. They just having babies like animals and just leaving them in the damn world, and whatever happened to them. The job is to get them to where they have to be at the age of 18. Raise them up to the age of 18 to where 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, where they can decide on their own as they adults. But at least you gave them a strong foundation. So if they decide to do something opposite that's on them. But you did your job. You gave them a strong foundation. You can't never look back and say, oh, I didn't give them my all. You gave them your all. Whatever they decide to do after that, that's on them. And even if they decide to do the wrong thing, they're not going to stray too far away from the path, because at least they had a strong foundation, something to look to as you're going forward, and you exposing your children to things. You shouldn't allow them to associate with everything and everybody. And the things they do come in contact with, you should thoroughly explain it to them. You thoroughly explain sex to them. You explain homosexuality to them yourself. And let them know it's a filthy and wicked, degenerate thing. Don't tell them it's something natural, because it's not. You gotta let them know that they don't have any friends out here amongst the other races. Stop telling them that lie. Stop telling them that they gonna have somebody that's gonna take care of them, or that the system gonna take care of them in the future. Don't raise them to be ignorant. They want you to believe, they want you to teach your children that everything is fair, ain't nothing, nobody's going against you because of your race. They want this the foolishness that black people are trying to teach their children. In other words, this is some nonsense from the white man to dumb down your children, so that when your children go out in the world, they don't understand why they being victimized. They ain't gonna understand why they getting thrown up against cars, why they getting profiled, why they gotta get told get their hands up around up over their heads when they get out of the car and they trying to show driver's license, or when they get profiled walking down the street. They're not supposed to understand that. They want you to ignore that. That you got evil and negative people in the world that don't like you. You're supposed to explain that to them early. They want you to tell your children you live in a post-racial society. So then you allow everybody into your circumference. You allow everybody into your head. You allow everybody to dictate the things to you and put ideas in your children's heads. Foolishness. We all the same. Don't continue your bloodline. You allow them to put this foolishness in your children's heads. Whatever black teachers you have out here, y'all supposed to be coming together collectively to snatch up those black teachers and set up schools for your children. You're supposed to set them up. You're supposed to snatch up black teachers, men and women, ones you can interview, and snatch up and build your own schools so your children could be educated by your own kind, so you know who's educating your children. You know where this person live at. You know what they pretty much their whole life. You know when you having parent-teacher meetings, you sitting across from somebody who got a black face like you, who gonna give a damn about your children. This is how you give them the extra push in the world. You set them up early with that law and order in their mind. They supposed to be disciplined, like little soldiers, mannerly, well-mannered, disciplined, structured in their ways, control of their emotions. You're supposed to teach them that. You're supposed to teach them to be in control of their emotions. You're supposed to teach them like damn near like a like drill sergeants, like military, like young drill sergeants. They supposed to have time where they playing, where they exercising their muscles and whatnot, and they run, they doing it, on a playground and whatnot, or in your backyard and all this stuff, and you're supposed to watch over them. They don't need to see you trying to act strong, black woman. They need you to be nurturing. They don't need you to be fostering, because it gives them mixed messages about sexuality of men and women and the idea of men and women. It gives them mixed ideas. You're sending bad signals to them. I don't even call them children. I call them young adults. They're supposed to know their place as young adults. That's how you should be referring to them, as young adults, because they got to grow up fast in this world. It was a time in the old days where kids was working at 10 years old, 9 years old. They was out working. There wasn't no damn playtime, wasn't no damn Sesame Street, wasn't no damn SpongeBob SquarePants. They was working. They was in the damn fields working. They had responsibility. You don't give them responsibility. You listen to the white man tell you, let your children just be children. Let them be kids. No, we ain't got time to let our kids be kids. They young adults. They preparing they children to be adults. They got you preparing your kids, your children to be kids. They talk. Listen to how the white man talk to his children. If you ever get a chance, listen to how they talk to their children. They preparing them to be leaders and young adults and preparing them for tomorrow. And you hear these white kids, when they talking to their parents, they're very articulate. They, like I said, a lot of them times you'll see them, they taking their children to museums and things like that. What y'all doing? You got them in front of the TV watching damn SpongeBob SquarePants or some damn stupid cartoons, rotting their damn brains out. You got them eating all kind of sugar, right? And all kind of candy. They got their kids eating apples and bananas, eating fruits and stuff like that. You got your kids eating all kind of white sugar. It's not good enough just to be regular. It's not good enough no more. You got to be exceptional. And if you do that to them, if you show them that early on, then it's not a heavy thing or a heavy burden on them. If you start them out that way, then it's not going to be a heavy thing. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, see, you got too much expectations on them. It shouldn't be too much expectations on them if you start them off early that way. You shouldn't have your children around situations that's not going to benefit them mentally, and explain consequences to them, consequences for their actions. Because I guarantee you, if you explain consequences to people's actions, in other words, if you thought futuristically when you raised your children, I'm pretty sure you'd have a lot of young girls out here who didn't have a whole bunch, wouldn't have a bunch of abortions under their damn belt, wouldn't have a bunch of STDs under their belt. If you explain consequences. Why do they put these movies out for your children to see? Why do they put out stupid movies for your children to see? Ignorant movies, because they want your children to have a childlike mentality. They want your children to stay as young and as dumb as possible. At 15 and 16 years old, at 14 years old, they supposed to be having IQs at 160 and off the damn chart. They supposed to be like damn scientists at 15 and 16 years old. You're supposed to be raising what the white man call nerds. He'll call them nerds and whatnot and say, oh, that's not the cool thing to be in here. Promote that to your kids, that it's not cool to be smart. But then he'd turn around and got MIT for his kids. Your sons are your sons and daughters. They're not your friends. They're not your homeboys. They're not your girlfriends. You're their mother, and that's your daughter. That's your fathers and sons. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be preparing them to be men and women early. You tell them you're not kids, you're young adults. You're young adults, and I'm preparing you for adulthood when I'm not going to be here, when you're going to have to be on your own, because I can't be around you. It's going to be a time when I'm no longer here, where you're not going to have me to depend upon you. You're supposed to be preparing them for that early, where it's not in a morbid way or nothing like that, but you're telling them because you're preparing them for the world. You're strengthening their mind. You're supposed to be preparing supermen and superwomen in the world, achievers, overachievers. There's no such thing as that's good enough. They should reach to something higher and continue to reach for something higher in their life. They shouldn't be good enough to just go to a damn job and get a job and work for somebody. They shouldn't even want to work for nobody. It shouldn't be good enough to go to school and go to school and waste money in damn school when you're not going to go there to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer or something like that. Encourage them to use their mind. They shouldn't even want to waste your money like that. You have to be a strong-minded person, right? In order to raise strong-minded children or young adults, as I said. You have to come with codes of conduct for your children at an early age. You got to prepare the nest as secure as you can prepare the nest. You have to do that. Laws, order, they have to see that early. Law and order is the foundation. It should be the foundation of all your households when you're trying to raise bright children out from amongst dead black people or a dying black race, because there's no law and order or any foundation within the damn black race on how they raise their children. The majority of the black race don't give a damn about how they do their children. What are you raising your children to be? What do you want them to be? You should want them to be supreme. You shouldn't want them to be good enough. Good enough is not good enough anymore. Good enough is just a little bit above degeneracy, but it's still in a state of degeneracy. I'm sorry. You want to raise a bright race of children, you got to separate them from the black race. That's the only way that's going to happen. You got to separate them early from the black race, and then when you send them out amongst the black race and the rest of the so-called human race I had, you got to let them know that God complex should be built up in them early. You got to separate them from grade 1 to 12. You got to know who your children go to school with, because if you start that way off with them early, you ain't got to worry about none of this. You should have them learning self-defense early. Karate, Aikido, they should be learning self-defense early. They should be learning how to play instruments early. Pianos, guitars, really pianos, because it brings out focus. Makes them better at math. They should be listening to old classical music, and that should be playing around the house. You should have that going lightly through the house in a stereo system where they hear that going through the house. They could grow up with that in their mind. They have a relaxed mind. Classical music, jazz, right? Old R&B stuff with messages. That set the tone for what they listening to. That's how you start producing a well-rounded child. Let them learn how to play tennis. Now, stop putting a damn football helmet and a pair of shoulder pads on them all the time. Let them learn how to play tennis. Let them learn how to play golf. Sports where they not going to hurt themselves or bang up their expenditures or walk around crippled or damn paralyzed. Get a man in their life. Somebody they can look up to.
Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the republic of intellect. Black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag.